Well, we're going to take a break here for a minute. A lot of my good friends and YouTubers are questioning what this mini pallet's for. Well, I'm coming to realize that holding parts down so you can mill them on the mill, sometimes you have to get pretty creative. And really, sometimes smaller parts are harder to hold than the bigger parts. Well, what I've got set up here is just kind of an example. Just kind of think of my mill as this mini pallet, and what I'm making right now are the hold downs, which basically are doing the same thing this does. What you do, you've got the little step block here, and there's little steps on the back of here, and you can adjust the height on it, set it on here, and then put a nut on here and clamp it down tight, and it'll hold that down on the mill. Well, what I'm doing is I'm making these with the slot in it like this. Here's a better look at the steps. I'm going to have the slots in here. Right now I'm getting ready to mill this little bit of an angle on there. It's not necessary, but it kind of makes, I think it'll make it look a little better, a little more finished. And what I've done, instead of having a step block on my pallet, I've drilled a hole in there, and I will run a screw. In fact, I've got a couple of them right here. I'm using them to hold this in place. Right here's what I've made so far. This is threaded 1032. I've got a slot here, so I've got the slot, and instead of the steps, I'll run a screw in to give me the leverage to get this end here to hold down the parts. I also made some basically just little straps, and I've got a couple of them on here. Let me zoom you in over here now. Okay, that's where I'm at. This is the first time I've used this angle plate here. It's got a little, you can't see my hand. On this end over here, there's just a round indicator so you can get your angle right. I'll show it to you when I'm done with this. What I've done is I've used two of my little hold down clamps, the screws in the back pushing just down right on the plate, and these are threaded into the holes so that I can kind of give leverage on to hold this bar in place. This is two screws with a parallel pushed up against them. Yeah, you can see at least one of the screws. Parallel pushed up against them. The little hold downs that I want to mill this angle on are in there. This is a 20-degree angle. I'll just mill across there to give that a little finished beveled edge, and then I'll turn them all up on edge and mill across to do this and this. I'll just do one side, then flip them over and do the other. But the way I'm doing this, once I here, because I have four this length, four a little shorter, which is this length, then four this length. So once I get them all done, I'll be able to set them all up in here and do the sides, and I'll probably put like a C-clamp or something pinching them together to hold them tight, and then all this other clamping. But I'm just learning how to do all this clamping, and this is going to make open up a whole new world on clamping down these little parts. I'm even thinking about making a plate that I could put right on this, which is I think it's, let me get a little tape measure. It's 10 by 7. So if I made one 10 by 7 that I could clamp right on the top of this, it just had a few big holes where I could run larger bolts through in the T-slots here to hold it in a couple places you know, just out on the ends. I think that'd be pretty cool. Then you could angle all this and have a lot larger plate to work with. I'm really getting into this machining stuff. I'm having a ball. Let me get set up to do this.